While OJD does not take a position on the bill, I thought it would be helpful to you to hear a little bit about the impact of immigration activities in and around our courthouses, and why it is important, and in fact imperative, that we take steps to preserve the neutrality of the courts in the eyes of all members of the public. The commitment courts make to the public is that we will provide a neutral forum for the resolution of disputes, and in doing so, access to all who seek justice. Every day, hundreds of people stream into our courthouses, victims of domestic violence, seeking protection orders, landlords and tenants, criminal defendants, parents trying to resolve custody and parenting issues, witnesses and litigants in complex civil matters. It is fundamental to our justice system that the doors are open to all. We do not ask immigration status or for documentation when we open our doors. Over the last several years, our court has worked very hard to maintain public trust and confidence. We've seen across the country what happens with the loss of confidence. We've adopted a pledge of fairness that we've posted throughout our courthouses. We've held public listening sessions so that judges can hear the diverse perceptions of the justice system from members of our community. All of these steps have been undertaken with the belief that access to justice is the cornerstone of our justice system. It is to the benefit of all of us that we encourage people to access the courts for disputes resolution in a civilized manner. However, since the executive order on deportation was signed in late January, we've had consistent reports from lawyers, community organizations, victims advocates, and public inquiries to the court that some members of our community are afraid to come to our courthouses because of the practice of ICE activities in and around our courthouses. We have no authority to prevent ICE from being in the courthouse. We have no authority to prevent anyone. Our courts are, by tradition and by the Oregon Constitution, open to all. However, we are very concerned that there has been a significant chilling effect of ICE's actions in and around our courthouses, and that this will deter and has deterred members of our community from seeking redress in our courts. Given the impact of ICE activities in our courthouses across Oregon, Chief Justice Thomas Balmer wrote to Attorney General Sessions and Homeland Security Secretary Kelly in April, asking them to not make arrests inside courthouses, or at least to include courthouses in their definition of sensitive locations, so that our courts can preserve their mandated impartial and neutral role. And I have copies of his letter, if you have not seen that I'll provide to the committee. I don't have data to share with you on how many people ICE activities in and around our courthouses have dissuaded from accessing the courts. And it would be indeed hard to measure how many people have not come to the court for a restraining order, how many people have not shown up to testify in a case, how many people have let their matter go and been defaulted. But I do have much anecdotal evidence of the impact of the activities. When we had one of our perceptions of justice listening sessions in January, it was scheduled for the 1st of January, and the weather ice canceled the appearance. This was a listening session that had been requested by members of the Rockwood community, where there's a large Latino community. And we were told that busloads of people were going to come because they wanted to share with the judges how they viewed the justice system. It got canceled and it was rescheduled after the executive order was signed. When one of our judges, who is Hispanic, walked into the auditorium, he looked around and said, "I am the only Hispanic here." No one showed up from the Hispanic community. This very morning, I received word that at our East County courthouse, there had been ICE agents waiting outside a courtroom for an individual who was completing his hearing, and as soon as he left the courthouse, he was detained. We understand as judges that ICE has a mandate, but what we want to make sure that we preserve as a civilized community, and certainly our justice system has stood us well in this country for hundreds of years now, is that the courthouse be preserved as a place where people can seek redress. This bill does require that public bodies not collect information. We are required, and one of the things that I assume will be looked at is we are required by state law across a number of case types to collect certain contact information. So I would assume that that will be one of the things that will be looked at. But I urge any efforts that we all can as Oregonians take to preserve the impartiality and neutrality of the courthouse and assure that anyone coming to needing justice will feel confident and comfortable in physically coming into the courthouse. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for this panel?